In late 2007, the Iraq War is winding down. President Bush has declared victory and rebuilding operations are underway. Sergeant Matthews and his spotter, Sergeant Isaac, are sent to a pipeline construction site in the middle of the Iraqi desert. All the Americans working at the site have been killed, so their mission is to find the culprit before sending in a new construction team. The two soldiers hide behind some bushes and rocks to observe the site under the intense sun, and 20 hours pass without anything happening. Matthews begins to grow impatient, assuming there are no Iraqi soldiers left in the area, and that it must have been attacked by a team that left after completing their mission. Isaac points out that there are no signs of a large group having moved through the area, and that all the workers were killed by headshots, indicating it could have been done by the legendary Iraqi sniper known as Juba. However, Matthews thinks it's impossible for anyone to kill so many people in under 30 seconds. Eventually, Matthews becomes frustrated and decides to go down to inspect the site, asking Isaac to cover him. Isaac explains that his scope is getting blurry, and Matthews teases him for not changing it sooner. But this scope is important to Isaac because it once belonged to a fallen comrade. Matthews goes from body to body, looking for clues, and gradually begins to believe Isaac's theory as he confirms that everyone died from precise headshots. He moves to the center of the site to determine the possible direction of the shots while Isaac begs him to come back. Suddenly, a gunshot rings out, and Matthews falls to the ground, writhing in pain from a gunshot wound to his abdomen. Desperate to save his friend, Isaac runs down in a zigzag path to avoid being shot. But as he gets close to Matthews, he is shot in the leg. Isaac has no choice but to leave Matthews behind and hide behind a broken wall. Though in pain, Matthews is still alive and contacts Isaac, telling him to call the base for backup. Isaac realizes that his leg wound is severe, so he ties a strap around it to stop the bleeding. He then grabs his radio bag to contact the base, only to discover there is no signal because the sniper shot the antenna. Suddenly, Matthews contacts him again, asking Isaac to locate the sniper so he can aim at him. Isaac warns that any movement will be noticed, and Matthews could be shot again. But Matthews ignores him. Isaac starts using his knife to make a hole in the wall for his scope, but his hand gets injured by falling rocks. Matthews tries to reach his rifle, but he passes out from excessive blood loss. Not wanting to end up like his friend, Isaac uses a knife to remove the bullet from his leg, a process that is extremely painful, then bandages the wound before passing out himself. A while later, Isaac wakes up to a strange noise coming from his earpiece. It turns out to be an officer from the base, and Isaac immediately reports the situation and requests medical supplies. However, he begins to grow suspicious when the officer asks many odd questions and, most importantly, requests either his exact location or for him to stand up and fire into the air so the helicopter can drop supplies accurately. Isaac points out that this violates protocol and would put him in danger, and when he listens more closely to the voice, he realizes it doesn't have an American accent. This is Juba, the sniper, who has hacked into the radio frequency to set a trap. Isaac doesn't fall for the trap and calls Juba out, but instead of ending the conversation, Juba starts asking him questions, saying he wants to understand Isaac better. Isaac tries the radio again, but it still isn't working. Juba keeps asking silly questions, and when Isaac refuses to respond, Juba threatens to shoot Matthews again, which is dangerous since Matthews might still be alive. Isaac agrees to chat for a while and asks Juba to go first, all the while starting to draw a map of the area in the dirt to calculate bullet trajectory and locate the sniper's possible position. Juba claims he's just an ordinary Iraqi citizen trying to save his country and asks Isaac about his family, but Isaac dismisses it as too personal. Isaac then mocks Juba's reasoning, saying he's killing people who are actually trying to develop the country by bringing schools, pipelines and infrastructure to boost the local economy. This makes Juba laugh, and he explains that the money made here will eventually be sent back to the US. As time passes, Juba keeps asking questions, but Isaac continues to refuse to reveal anything personal, prompting Juba to threaten to shoot Matthews again. However, Isaac no longer believes him. To prove his threat, Juba tells Isaac the name of the scope's previous owner and mentions that he's dead, recalling Matthews's earlier teasing. This means Juba has been listening to their conversation since they arrived, using his scope. Isaac notices that one of the dead men has a radio and drags his body over to the wall, but even using a piece of wood, he can't reach it without exposing himself. Isaac then tries to drink from his water bottle, only to find it empty because of a hole, which Juba confirms was intentional. Juba also admits that he hasn't missed a single shot. He deliberately targeted the water bottle, the antenna, and Isaac's leg to trap him in an inescapable situation, leaving him to die slowly, something Juba would enjoy listening to through the communicator. When Isaac finds the bullet he took out of his leg, he examines it more closely and begins calculating the model of Juba's weapon by asking some clever questions. He also calls Juba a terrorist, which makes Juba laugh as he points out that the Americans are the ones illegally entering a foreign country with weapons ready to kill. As Juba talks, Isaac continues his calculations and looks through his scope, eventually concluding that Juba is hiding under a large pile of trash. Juba has endured these harsh conditions for a long time, not to mention the intense heat, proving he's truly a professional. However, Juba denies being the famous sniper and once again claims to be just an ordinary Iraqi man. Based on Juba's accent, Isaac guesses that he could be a former US Army officer who defected, but Juba dismisses this as well, explaining that he only kills those who attack him first. In response, Isaac shares the story of how he met his best friend as a child and later enlisted with him when they became adults. Thirst and exhaustion start to take a severe toll on Isaac, who collapses to the ground as he hears Juba threaten to nail his tongue to his chest. Next, Isaac tries to trick Juba by placing his jacket and helmet on his rifle and waving it above the wall, but Juba doesn't fall for it. However, the helmet falls to the other side of the wall, leaving Isaac's head unprotected. This foolish mistake makes him break down in tears. As time passes, Isaac becomes so desperate that he decides to take a risk. He runs toward a body lying on the ground, grabs the man's bag and radio, and dashes back to the wall, dodging all the bullets Juba fires at him. In the bag, Isaac finds some water and candy, which he consumes immediately. Unfortunately, this radio doesn't work either. Juba punishes him for this reckless action by shooting at the wall, severely damaging Isaac's scope. Suddenly, Isaac hears a faint noise from his earpiece and realizes it's Matthews, who is still alive. Isaac shouts out the sniper's location to Matthews, who immediately grabs a metal shard to use as a mirror to look toward the pile of trash. As Matthews moves extremely slowly to retrieve his rifle, Isaac keeps the sniper distracted by making small talk. He learns that Juba used to be a teacher in Baghdad, and after his students were killed in an American attack, he decided to seek revenge. The wall Isaac is hiding behind is actually the remains of that school. Juba then asks Isaac why he still keeps the broken scope, and when Isaac refuses to answer, Juba threatens to shoot Matthews again. Desperate to save his friend, Isaac admits that he keeps the scope in memory of an old friend who died due to a mistake Isaac made, and he still feels guilty. Meanwhile, Matthews sets up his rifle and blindly fires at the pile of trash, emptying his rounds. Isaac also fires, pretending the noise is coming from him. Just as Matthews is about to reload, Juba suddenly returns fire, hitting him in the shoulder. Isaac tells Matthews to crawl toward him to find safety behind the wall, but unfortunately, when Isaac gets close to the edge to help, Juba shoots Matthews in the head. Isaac has to witness his friend's death and finally breaks down, sobbing and saying that he wants to go home. Juba tells Isaac that if he truly wants to leave, he won't shoot him, but Isaac remains skeptical. Then, Juba asks why Isaac is still there even though the war has ended. After hesitating for a moment, Isaac responds that he's here because he accidentally killed his old comrade while trying to shoot an enemy. Isaac had lied to everyone, claiming his friend was killed by the enemy. Suddenly, Isaac hears noise over the radio and is thrilled to hear conversations going on. However, his joy is short-lived, as although he can hear voices, he can't send any messages due to the damaged radio. Shockingly, Juba joins the conversation Isaac is listening to and uses Isaac's name to request support. Isaac finally realizes that all this time, Juba has been hacking into American communications, pretending to be a soldier in need of help to lure backup teams to the area and kill them easily with the element of surprise. Isaac tries to interrupt the conversation but fails. A while later, he wakes up in pain, feeling a crow pecking at the wound on his leg. Seeing that even the birds think he's already dead, Isaac decides to take a risk and retrieves Matthews's rifle using some rope and a stick. At that moment, helicopters arrive in the area, inadvertently revealing Isaac's location. Unaware it's a trap. Wanting to save the incoming soldiers, Isaac pushes the wall to make it crumble, creating a cloud of dust that makes it difficult for Juba to pinpoint his position. Isaac starts shooting at the pile of trash, unsure if he's hit his target. To find out, he finally stands up from his hiding spot and is shocked to see that Juba isn't taking the opportunity to shoot back. This makes Isaac believe he has killed Juba. Soon after, the helicopter arrives, and Isaac is quickly placed on a stretcher and given medical attention. Isaac tries to report about Juba, but he can't be heard due to the noise from the helicopter. Suddenly, Juba begins firing at them, killing the medical personnel one by one before hitting the pilot. The helicopter crashes to the ground, killing Isaac instantly, fulfilling Juba's promise. Technically, Isaac was not shot directly. Juba then hacks into the US communication lines again, pretending to be an American soldier to lure in his next group of victims. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching.